Sometimes we wait so much for something that it feels like it will never come. Every day seems like a possible day, every hour can be the hour, but it never happens. Sometimes you even forget that you are waiting for something. But then, at the night, alone, you remember. But don't worry, it will happen. It's real. "19 years ago, that was the last time we had a new original 2D Metroid game. I can't say we've been starving during these years because we saw the release of 2 great remakes, but still, it's depressing to see one of the few Nintendo series that has a linear and connected narrative without an original game for such a long time. But finally, after so many years, we can see the continuation of Samus Adventure in glorious HD on a home console. Well, kind of. And something that I noticed with all the material Nintendo has been releasing about the game, plus the media coverage, is that the team behind Mercury Steam and the veteran producer Yoshio Sakamoto are taking a good look at what has worked and what hasn't on all the previous games in the series. Let's take a closer look at what elements from each game in the series Metroid Dread is borrowing and how it is trying to create the best Metroid experience so far. The first thing that immediately popped out to me in the first trailer is how they are bringing back the focus on action that we saw in Samus Returns. That was kind of expected as the game is being developed by the same team. Samus can once again use the melee counter when a monster approaches, but this time she can also use it when running as a direct attack, so you don't need to wait for the enemy to make the first move. The possibility to aim in whatever direction you want is also back, something that will probably be way more comfortable with the more robust Switch controller. Finally, in the movement department, they added the slide, a new movement that opens the possibility for more dynamic fights during the game. Still in the action topic, I want to give an important shout out to the quality of animation in this game. That's also something that we saw on Samus Returns, but here they turn it up to 11. Everything looks clean and smooth, Samus movements are fast and precise, making it very clear that she is the most powerful bounty hunter in the galaxy. And I love the way she's presented in the cutscenes, with a very badass attitude. It's a very subtle and elegant way to give her a fantastic characterization. Not always a game can translate so well from 16-bit to 3D, but here they did a really good job in general with the graphics. Okay, the game looks good, but that isn't the signature aspect the series is known for. What about exploration? Usually in the best Metroid games we expend a good amount of time looking at places that we can't reach. Because we don't have the right item, the player must find these items or upgrades first, and then return to the place where the item was needed to progress. This structure forces our brain to materialize the map and creates a gameplay loop that constantly rewards the player. Metroid Fusion and Samus Returns try to give a different spin on that formula, still using it but on a small scale, clearly dividing the map into stages and creating more linear experiences. However, Metroid Dread seems to be leaning more on the formula used in the acclaimed Super Metroid. Possibly one of the best games ever made. So far we've seen that the maps in Metroid Dread are massive, with some of the biggest areas in the series, with a lot of blank space to fill and different connections between the spaces. The devs themselves are supporting that, clarifying that the game will have a big focus on exploration on the reports posted on the site. We don't want to say too much, but know that Samus will go back and forth between this area and others throughout ZDR to continue her exploration. It's not an easy task to build a great and connected overworld like Super Metroid did, but I hope that Mercury Steam is giving their best and also taking inspiration for other recent games inspired by Metroid, like the fantastic Hollow Knight. A cool new feature for the exploration aspect in the game is the inclusion of markers in the map. That's probably indicative of how big the map is. The markers will be a big help for players that get lost easily. If you see a place that you can't reach yet, just put a marker and return later after acquiring new abilities. The game seems to be very open and heavy on exploration. So, This means that Dread is totally different from his very linear predecessor, Metroid Fusion, right? Actually, no. It's probably a general consensus that the SAX is one of the best elements in Metroid Fusion. The Samus clone that stalks the player during the game created some of the best moments in the series, generating an unusual amount of fear for a Nintendo game. The player can't kill the character and the only option is to run. Metroid Dread is bringing the same idea back but in a much better way. The new threats are the Emi. They are sinister, very agile robots that chase Samus relentlessly. This time, instead of scripted sequences, the game puts the player in designated areas where the robots can appear at any moment, creating a lot of tension. When the pursuit starts, the player has to find the best way to escape, using all of Samus' abilities. If you get caught, it's an immediate game over. Another thing that is returning from Fusion is Adam, the AI that helps Samus in her adventure. That's also a confirmation that we'll have some elements of a linear narrative, like dialogues and text during the game. However, the biggest expectation about the story of the game is how it will expand the lore. The two last remakes gave a lot of new information about the Chozo, an ancient species with a strong connection with Samus, and Dread seems to be doubling down that approach, with members of this old society appearing in flesh and blood for the first time in the series and interacting with Samus. The game will probably expand on what was shown in the arts we've seen in Samus Returns, making good use of some great cutscenes that we saw glimpses in the trailers. So far, Metroid Dread seems to be a natural evolution of the series, modernizing the gameplay elements and bringing back the best from each game with a high-level production quality. Now we just have to wait a little more. Oh god. Oh no. That's the hype alarm. Okay, I have to go. The time has come. See you next time, guys. Bye!